The Senate, that's what you're seeing pictures of right here, moments away from voting on the Buffett rule. That's a law that would require millionaires to pay a minimum of 30% in taxes. So they're considering it right now. The smart thinking is it will not pass, but of course we're going to follow this and let you know what happens. We'll be on top of it. They need 60 votes. Not likely they will get it, but voting on the Buffett tax in moments. All right, let's get to our watchdog panel. Remember when Obama promised to change the way Washington does business, doing away with special interest groups? Well, it's business as usual, where White House visitor logs showing many of Obama's biggest donors either took lobbyists with them on their visit or they just lobbied themselves. What's more is those who donated the most were more than 50% more likely to pay Obama a visit timed just before or after making their big donation. Time to bring in our panel. Tina Korbe is an associate editor for HotAir.com in Oklahoma City. Alex Charfen is the CEO of the Charfen Institute in Austin, Texas. And Guy Benson is the political editor for townhall.com. All right, Guy, have at it.
Well, this would be a total non-story if it were just any other politician, because this is, as you said, business as usual. Big donors, lobbyists get access to politicians. Real shocker. Except, as you said, the problem for this president is he put himself out there as a new type of politician. Day 2 of his administration, he said, we're going to do away with the old way of doing things. It's going to be a new era in American politics starting today.
All right.
With this transparency pledge, one broken promise after another.
Tina, what do you say?
Guy just hit the nail on the head. This is business as usual, but the president is the one who said that he was going to change business as usual. And also, it does become a completely different thing when it becomes pay to play, as we've seen in Solyndra, when the administration's poor decision-making are linked to donors. And I think that's an important point to make.
Well,
plus, he's out there demonizing the rich. You talked about the Buffett rule, and he's consorting with all these rich donors. I don't have $35,000 laying around to donate.
Well, I think this pay-to-play thing, it's a good way to put it. Alex, what do you say?
You know, I think we're in a tough situation. I've spent a lot of time in Washington, and it's hard to do anything without talking to a lobbyist or a donor of some sort. The reality, though, is when you make a pledge, it's tough to stick up to that pledge, not to talk to them at all. So you're right. He put himself in a challenging situation, and this is going to haunt him over and over again.
Well, I guess we'll see. You know, some people call it business as usual. I say business as usual should be out the door. All right, at least 11 Secret Service agents suspended over the weekend after agents reportedly hired prostitutes during their stay in Colombia. And according to the Pentagon, there may be more suspensions to come. Alex.
You know, Jerry, this is a really frustrating news story because we have a service, the Secret Service, that has a near-perfect record. And it looks like 11 guys may have tarnished that record. And I think that we need to remember that there are thousands of Secret Service agents that are doing the right thing. This is one of the shining stars of the United States, and they do a job that a lot of us couldn't or wouldn't do. So let's remember, 11 people does not make the entire Secret Service.
Well, Tina, what do you say?
Well, Congressman Darrell Issa talked about this earlier today, and it wasn't just that they were creating a compromising situation at the present moment. It's also that they open up the potential for blackmail in the future. So it is a significant scandal, but yeah, it's the lack of judgment of 11 Secret Service members, and as the bureaucracy grows larger, people take less responsibility for their personal decisions.
Guy.
Well, no one's going to defend what happened here or what allegedly happened here if, in fact, what we know is the case. But I think I'll just reiterate what we've already heard. I was at the White House in 2007. The Secret Service is filled with professional and exemplary people, and to throw an entire organization under the bus because of alleged malfeasance of a handful of agents, I think would be a giant mistake.
Just a book out from one of those agents who protected President Kennedy. You know, the guilt he felt over not being able to save Kennedy. You just don't see people who are more vested in their jobs than some of those folks. All right, President Obama supporter, you know him, comedian Bill Maher. Some seemed all too eager to defend Hillary Rosen's comments on Ann Romney. You remember this. She said Ann Romney had never worked a day in her life.
What she meant to say, I think, was that Ann Romney has never gotten her out of the house to work. There is a big difference between being a mother in that tough job and getting your out the door at 7 a.m. when it's cold.
Ah, come on. Tina, what do you say?
Bill Maher is the $1 million misogynist. He has a history of demeaning comments toward conservative women and women of all kinds. And he's donated $1 million to President Obama's super PAC, Priorities USA. So the president has a choice to make. Is he going to really disavow these comments and say, I don't want to have anything to do with Maher, or is he going to allow himself to be tarnished by association?
I love that $1 million misogynist. That's perfect. Alex, what do you say?
You know, Maher has a long history of grabbing any type of attention he can, and perhaps he feels like if he wrote $1 million check, he can run out and do this. If he's a supporter of the president, he'd be a lot better off just keeping his mouth shut.
All right.
Tina nailed it in terms of the problem, the political problem that Barack Obama and Democrats have, because this is their $1 million donor, and he's a well-established jerk, Jerry. He does this all the time. But the very end of the clip that you played is curious to me. I don't have much mothering experience, shockingly, but you might. The idea that mothers don't get up at 7 a.m.
No, I think they get up at 3 a.m.
Yeah, exactly.
and 4 a.m.
Yeah.
and 5 a.m.
Yeah, so Bill Maher shockingly talking out of his rear end again.
Wow. Okay, he gets no good reviews here. Tina, Alex, and Guy, thanks for coming on tonight. Great job as always. Thank you.
Thanks, Jerry.